This company spent $825,000 on the domain name, and they said it was one of the best decisions they made. Hey, Chris Zuiker with Media Options. We help companies to acquire their raw, unfiltered version of their brand name. Also working some of the best domains on the planet. Check it out, MediaOptions.com. And the story that I'm referring to is a story of the brand Cover.com. The story that I read, I was just catching up on some of the stories in the domain world and on founders and putting together some videos, some cool videos here. And this is one of them. This was back in 2018 when they made the decision to buy the domain name. The story actually came out November of 2018, so I'm not sure exactly when they bought it. I got to go back and look at that. But it really struck me. It struck me for a couple of different reasons. The first one is that they spent $825,000. They acknowledged that, hey, this is a foundational aspect of the brand. He actually says that in the brand. He said, we sell an intangible product, and at the end of the day, we're in the trust business. Owning Cover.com has lent an extra level of legitimacy to the brand, and this in turn has translated into sales. Now, the reason why he said that is he said, we've seen firsthand how it helps people get over the hump when it comes to investing their money with us. Immediately after moving to Cover.com, we saw our conversions rise, largely because our customers would cross-reference our app on the internet before they made the decision, the purchase decision. Now, it's interesting because I deal with a lot of companies and a lot of startups that are creating apps. They say, listen, we don't need it. We've got our app. Our app is fine. Really, really. It's a great example of a company that actually bought their domain name and they noticed that there's this cross-reference that customers are trying to say, hey, are you legitimate? Are you real? Are you authentic? These things we call brand equity. Now, I'd say this is that if you're only living on the app, do you really have, how much brand equity do you really have? Now, okay, great. Listen, there's awesome companies, big companies, unicorn companies that are out there, but it's not for every single company. Some people want to actually see more about what you do. You want to have the opportunity to scale, the opportunity to protect your investment, the opportunity to maybe do more with your brand at a later date. Cover.com did a great job. I love their website. Check it out. I talked yesterday about simplicity and about how I'm visiting a lot of different brands, and I see, like, one of the questions I ask is, what do you do? Like, I can't figure it out. I'm trying to sell domain name to you, right? But and you're in this industry, maybe you're CRM, and I kind of know what you do. But when I go to your website, I don't see the journey and the simplicity to interact with your brand, to actually raise my hand and say, hey, I want to do business with you. Cover.com is a great example. I'm not affiliated with them, not making any money from them. I love the story, and I love the simplicity of the brand, how they make it easy. They have like the 1, 2, 3. They make it easy to understand what to do, how to do it, interact with them. And I think that's probably one of the main reasons why they've been successful in their journey. I do appreciate them sharing their story. I think that every time that there's a story that's shared really helps to further the understanding of brands, the understanding of domain names, how they interact, how they help conversion. One other point that he made that I thought was very interesting is he said that he felt this tremendous pressure from Y Combinator that, hey, don't spend money frivolously. Okay. Now they realized at one point that, hey, they could just rebrand. They picked Cover in the very beginning because it was the very essence of what they were trying to create. So it made sense to them to use Cover. As they got bigger, as they went through their funding round, they said, okay, now what do we do? This is our brand. This is what we call ourselves, but we can rebrand. We don't have to buy this domain name. And he actually alludes to it in the article that maybe that's a good thing for people to do, right? You've gone to a certain point with your brand and you realize that the importance of owning your brand online, you get to this point where you say, hey, when you first start off, you say, it doesn't matter if there's maybe 5, 10 competitors all with the same, like going after the same keyword. And the reason why is because we're okay with it. Okay, they're in different industries. But then there's this transition that takes place and you say, it's not okay. Like, we want to be the only person that dominates and owns this brand online through social, through the website, through the app, through everything. Okay, and you get there by owning the domain name. If you allow this domain name to be open and out there, all you're doing is a big risk to your company because another company is going to come along and take this equity that you built up in this brand and they're going to capture a portion of that because they're going to own the premium position in the domain name. It's just how our human brains work. We rank things all the time. So it was said that, listen, this domain is like, don't spend it frivolously. So there was a tremendous pressure, but they knew that this was the right thing to do. They knew that they needed to own their brand online. They talked to their investors. Their investors helped them to see that, and to see that it was a very good, it was a good purchase. It was an asset. It was an asset that would be in the books. It wasn't an expense. It's not a marketing expense. Listen, if you have to, you can resell this. And so inevitably, they bought the domain name. I'm going to try to follow up with him and see if he'll share anything additional on his story, the brand. But it's a great story, nonetheless, cover.com. Check it out. Share this video up if you got any value from it. Check me out at chriszuiker.com. I do a daily podcast with lots more stories in the domain world, into negotiating, into just domains in general. So check it out at chriszuiker.com and check out our domain names at mediaoptions.com.